Janesville, welcome to Park Place Views, brought to you by the City of Janesville and JATVMedia Services. I'm Jamie Balsiger, Management Information Intern in the City Manager's Office. This monthly program aims to keep Janesville residents informed by highlighting the people, places, events, and partners in the City of Janesville. On last month's episode, we talked to the School District of Janesville Superintendent Steve Pufall about the new school year and his impressions of the Janesville community. If you are interested in viewing past episodes of Park Place Views, they are available to watch on the city's website or JATV's YouTube channel. On this month's episode, we'll be speaking with Hedberg Public Library Director Bryan McCorminck about the role the public library plays in the Janesville community and the library transformation project they are planning. Bryan has been the library director here at Hedberg Public Library since October of 2007. He holds a Bachelor of the Arts degree from Cornell College, a Master's of Library and Information Science from the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, and a Master's of Business Administration from the University of Phoenix. Bryan is also an active member serving on several committees, including the Certified Public Library Administration Review Committee and Council on Library and Network Development. Thanks for being here, Bryan, and giving our viewers an opportunity to learn about Hedberg Public Library.
Thanks for inviting me, Jamie, and obviously I have our library cat with me today. I'm going to call her Fluffy, but really she has many names depending on who checks her out. So
she's very cute.
And yeah, she's purring right now, and so she's enjoying her time. But this is something, it's called an elder care kit. It's something that we did in partnership with Rock County Council on Aging, and they gave us funds to do, I think we have 20 different elder care kits. So like for those that maybe suffer from Alzheimer's and they had a favorite cat in their past, they can sit there and they can just pet it away. So I thought I'd bring Fluffy with me today.
That's awesome. Okay, so you just told us about Fluffy. Now let's learn a little bit more about you. Can you tell us about your family or what you like to do in your free time?
Sure. I have a wife, Marina, and two boys, Andrew and Christopher. So Andrew is 8, and he's at Kennedy in 3rd grade, and then Christopher just started kindergarten. He's also at Kennedy. So I have those two boys. They keep me very busy. And we are a family that does a lot of traveling. So we've been out east, out west. They're big fans of trains, as most kids are. So we've visited many train museums and rode several steam trains around the nation. So, but yeah, they're good kids and they're enjoying school, and we're enjoying the community. So
that's good. Now let's learn about the organization of Hedberg Public Library.
Mm-hmm.
How many staff members do you have, and what are the different departments in the library?
We have about 70 staff here at the library. From reference librarians to those that work at the circ desk to those that shelve materials. So it's a fairly big staff, a lot of part-time people. It all keeps the library running. And then we have JM4C, Janesville Mobilizing for Change. They received a drug-free communities grant a little over 5 years ago, and I serve as kind of the business manager for them. So they're a separate committee. The city oversees the fiscal agent for that grant. I just make sure that how the grant was written, everything's done above board, and so I think we have 4 people with them. And then JATV is right here in the library, so it's a long walk for me. I had to come about 2 cubicles over to get over here to the studio, but we've had a long time relationship with JATV, and I pretty much stay out of their way. I just help them or provide any support they might need, but they're a good organization, and we're doing as much as we can to partner on library events, and they do a nice job on promoting what we do and taping our training. So if there's staff that aren't able to be at the training, they tape it, and then everyone gets to see it. So it's a good partnership.
Yeah, sounds like it. The library is overseen by a board of directors, but then you're also sort of an arm of the city organization. Mm-hmm. That's confusing, but how does it all work?
For me, it's not too confusing, just because I've worked in libraries for nearly 20 years. But it's the library is governed by Chapter 43 of the state statutes, and public libraries have a separate library board. And the library board basically oversees the policy that the library has. They hire a library director, which is myself, to serve as executive director. And they kind of oversee the library. And the city council's part is they provide us with funds. So let's say it's $3 million that they provide us for. It's then the library board's duty to make sure that money is spent in a certain way. So city provides us the money, and the library board oversees how we spend it. So that's probably the simplest way to explain that.
So it's going to be a busy time of year now with students being back in school. Are there any big fall or winter programs or events that are going on here at the library?
Our biggest event coming up is probably our Night at the Library event. So I think this is our 7th year. It's like a fundraiser, and it's a murder mystery that we do. And that's in October 21st. So we always kind of, because people dress up in costume, we try to have it as close to Halloween as we can. And it's an after-hour event. So it's kind of neat to come to the library after hours where the lights are out, and you can kind of enjoy that. We just had a teen robotics roundup, and I think we have a couple more coming up in October. And that's a chance for teens to get together and play with some of the robots that we have and build some robots. We have some couple Lego, they're called Lego Boost robot sets that we just purchased. So they have that. And then every November we have a Faces of the World program, which kind of international, different countries are represented by people. And you can come in the library and visit Russia, Mexico, Honduras. We probably have 20, 25 different countries represented. So we've been doing that for a number of years too. So those are some of the bigger ones that come to mind that we're doing this fall.
Yeah, that's a lot for this fall. What are some other popular events that the library hosts throughout the year?
Well, obviously our summer reading program is probably our flagstone. I mean, that's every summer from beginning of June till, say, mid-August. And that keeps our staff busy. Obviously, a lot of kids are in here. The big thing with that is helping to prevent that summer slide that kids have. So, kids are always glad when school's out, but at the same time, you want to kind of keep them engaged so that when they go back to school in the fall, there's not that big slide from the year before. So we do our part to help with that. Teen programs throughout the year. We have a TAB group, Teen Advisory Board, and they get together and work with our teen librarian on things that they'd like to do. So a lot of the programs that we offer are teen suggested. And then, and for example, we have a coding club, so you can kind of get together and create computer code for how a robot might work or move around and stuff. So that's been real popular lately. Trying to think of some other things that we might have. Yeah, that's what comes to mind right now. So, but yeah, there's plenty of things actually. I know we're going to be talking about the website in a little bit, but we have a newsletter that goes out every season, and there's a plethora of events and programs that are listed on there. So, always something going on here at the library.
That's fun. We think of libraries as a place to check out books and other materials, but what other services does the library provide?
Computers, Wi-Fi, places for meetings if people need a room for a meeting or studying. I think probably what's not known is in the summer we're a cooling location for those when it gets too hot, and in the winter we're a warming place. So people come here and get out of the cold if they need to. Obviously, lots of programs and services. We try to do programs or events that might be something that someone hasn't experienced before, so you can come here and learn about that. yeah, just there's a lot of different things going on. If you want to just have a cup of coffee or something, you just come to the coffee shop here in the lower level that the Friends group runs, and just have a cup of coffee and visit with somebody.
So you provide these free services to the public. How is the library funded to be able to provide these community services?
About 3/4 of our funding is from the city, from the tax levy, and then we also receive funds from the county, from fines and fees, some grants, a couple other sources, but mostly it's the city tax levy. So we're one of the departments of the city supported by a tax levy, and that's probably most of it.
Okay. One thing I found interesting when visiting the library is the special room for the Janesville information. What information can be found in that special room?
That would be what we call our Janesville Room, and that houses all of our local history, anywhere from old city maps to the yearbooks from Craig and Parker. So it's a really nice room. A lot of the materials are one of a kind, so we do have those kind of locked behind some cases, but anytime you want to view something like that, you can stop in and talk to a reference librarian. They'll pull it out for you. But it's a great resource. We're planning to expand on that a little bit, because another popular thing here is our genealogy, people going back through old microfilm of the Janesville Gazette. We're getting some new microfilm readers in, and so people can sit down, do a couple hours of research, and look back at family history or city history or what have you. So it's a popular thing and something we're expanding on.
You've been a part of the Hedberg Library for 10 years now. What are some of the awards or achievements the library has received in that time?
It's amazing it's been 10 years already. It's gone pretty fast. But recently, just a few months ago, we were Library of the Month for the state of Wisconsin. So we were recognized for a lot of our activities and things that we've done. I would say probably our biggest recognition has been with our staff. And they will routinely present programs at the State Library Conference. So anywhere from some of our digitization, lately a lot of our outreach activities. We did a session on our Night at the Library event because a lot of other libraries are looking at that. And then safety and security of libraries has been another one. And obviously in today's world, safety and security in public buildings is a concern. You want to have a good program in place and be able to respond should a situation come up. And we've worked with the police department, sheriff's department. We have a pretty good plan for a lockdown or a situation where there might be a shooting. And our staff have gone to the state conference and presented how we came up with our plan and shared that. So we're definitely recognized as a proactive library in the state, and people look to us for assistance or guidance on a lot of things.
Yeah, that's good, and a lot of things in the 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been hearing for a while now about the Transform Your Library project, but It seems to be really ramping up now. Can you tell us about the changes that you're planning to make at the library?
A lot of the changes that we're looking to do have to do with what I call collaboration. And so one thing, currently right now we just have a public meeting room downstairs for groups of 20 or less, and then our program room for most of our other events. With the transformation, we're looking at increasing the number of spaces available for committees to get together or for the library to host events and programs. With our program room, we're expanding the size of that, but also kind of reworking the front part of the library so we could actually have an event in there before or after we open. That's kind of been something where we're kind of tied to the hours that we're open, or if we do open earlier, then we have to have staff here in the building. So that'll be nice to have, but we're looking to have kind of what I call a leisure reading space. And in that area, if we were expecting maybe 20 people to come to an author talk, we could program that space instead of using the larger program room. Or by the expanded teen area, we're going to have some space off of that area for STEM activities or for kids to work collaboratively on a project. Currently we have a Woodruff computer lab. We're planning to change that into, we're calling the Woodruff Training Lab. And so we'll have computers that we can bring in there when we want to do computer training, but at the same time we'll be able to easily pick those computers up, put them on a cart, move them out of the room, and then reorient that room for a training or a community group that wants to meet. I mean, so there'll be a room that can be used in multiple ways rather than just a computer lab that it is now. So that's a big part of it, is just that collaborative space that people need. I know when I was working on my MBA, all of our class projects, we always had group projects that had to be done, and working collaboratively is just kind of a sign of the time. So being able to work together in a group, it's not something you can just get up and do. You got to kind of work at it. So I know schools do it. You know, we want to have the space so that when people need to get together and work collaboratively, they can do that here. And then another thing we want to do is just kind of reorient where our service desks are. So right now we kind of have three. You have the circulation desk, you have the old information desk that we use at night, or we shut down the other two desks and just work from the information desk, and then we still have the reference desk that you go around the corner to. And we kind of want to take a different approach where when you come into the library and you come into the entrance and you get under that skylight, and some people kind of look around, it's like, where do I go for help? That will now be our service point. So you come in, and if you need help with circulation, they'll be able to help you. If you need help with a reference question, they can help you. So we're cross-training our staff, and we'll have just that one single access point for people to come in and get assistance. By having just kind of that one service point, we can shut down those other desks. That frees up staff then to go around and move around the library and rove around and actually go to patrons and ask them if they need help and all that. So I think it's a much better service that we can provide to patrons when they come into the library.
Yeah, a lot of different changes, but good ones.
Lots of changes, yeah. It's kind of a sign of the times, really.
Yeah. So what is the planned timeline for this project?
We're still looking at, I think, 2018, 2019. Probably be closer to fall of 18 if we're able to get started. One thing we want to do is stay open through the process. So that does, obviously if you close, you can probably get it all done in a couple months and reopen, but we know how important the library is to the community. So we want to stay open, and it extends the time frame of it a little bit, but at the same time, I think we can get it done maybe in an 8-month period. So if we're able to start in end of 18, we should be finished up spring of 19. So that's the goal anyway.
Okay, that is close.
Yeah. You're here before we know it.
Yes. What are some new services the library will offer after the renovations are completed?
I'd say a big part is with the collaboration, doing more STEM activities. So in addition to having space for patrons to come in and work collaboratively, we also want to be able to do more events where we can provide more activities where people can get together and work collaboratively. And I think STEM, the science, technology, engineering, and math, that's real popular in schools. That's something we want to expand on, have more opportunity for teens, adults, kids to come in and work with robotics or a 3D printer or other types of technologies. We recently hired, or will be hiring shortly, an innovation librarian. And that's kind of a new position in libraries. There might be one or two in Wisconsin. And the idea there is somebody who's not afraid of technology, not afraid of the changes and innovation we're seeing in our world. And so, for example, with the 3D printer we have, that was something new. I think there's a different process you have to go through rather than just hitting print and a piece of paper coming out and printing out, where you're kind of creating an object and then hitting the print and watching it evolve or build, if you will. So having a librarian that will jump on those technologies, learn it, and then teach staff and have programs for patrons that come in and learn how to use it. So we've done some events and programs and some training with it. We'd like to do more, because I think you're going to see more of that 3D printing happening. So that's a big thing that we're doing. We're expanding our Janesville Room. So the Janesville Room stays as it is, but we're expanding off of that and creating kind of a research-rich room where we'll put all of our genealogy materials, larger maps that don't fit into the Janesville Room, all of our microfilm, a few more computers for people to do some research on. So we're kind of building off of that and creating a space unique to them where they can kind of, dig down in and do that research or have that quiet time to do that. So
how will the renovations be paid for?
It'll be public-private partnership. So the library is a little over 20 years old from the last renovation, and so we knew we had some upkeep we had to do, some maintenance, roofing, carpeting, lighting, that type of stuff. So the board decided, well, since we're going to be doing that anyway, let's take a look at what we want to do differently to the building. So that's when we went out and talked to some architects and had them look at our building, and working with them, kind of come up with a project where if we're around $2.8 million, we can do what we want to do. So we're looking to borrow through the city note issue, but $1 million to cover kind of those basic funds. And then the rest we're privately raising so that we can do the meeting rooms or the expanded program room or the leisure reading room, if you will, those types of things. So, but through public and private donations, we'll be able to make it happen.
Okay, how can members of the community get involved in this transformation project?
Well, we do have upstairs kind of a little box, if you will, where you can pick up information on giving to the transformation project, and you can turn those in here at the library in that box. You can stop in my office and talk to me about possibly giving a gift, send me an email. If you want to get more actively involved, we do have a capital campaign committee, and you could let me know, express some interest, and we can invite you to an upcoming meeting. So yeah, probably the simplest is just getting a donation form and giving a gift, or if you want to get more involved, contacting me, and we'll get you involved. There's plenty of things that someone can get involved with and help us.
Yeah, I hope people do help.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, we've had a lot of good support and a lot of good comments from people in the public that really want to see this happen. I mean, the original Hedberg gift of, I believe it was a little over $8 million. It was quite a gift to the community, and they really have a first-rate library. So we want to keep it first-rate. We really want to stick with the times and make sure that this community continues to have a really great library here in the community.
Along with the library, I've seen a new bookmobile around town at city events. When and how did you get this bookmobile?
So that was a gift from the Leadership Development Academy. That is a program that I believe was Ford Janesville started up a number of years ago, and people from throughout the community, from nonprofits and businesses, participate as members of the Leadership Development Academy. And as part of that, each group has to come up with a project. So it was a couple years ago, there was a group that had a couple teachers involved, and they wanted to do something for kids, but another component was they wanted to do something that was sustainable. And they knew that we had been doing some outreach to the trailer parks in the summer, and we kind of talked about it'd be nice if instead of throwing books in the back of our car, we had a bookmobile to drive around. So they took it to heart and asked us if we could use a bookmobile. And they didn't ask, it was like in February that they asked us about this, and they graduate in May. So I kind of jokingly said, well, sure, but I don't know how you're going to get it done in just a few months. But they had a plan in place, and they got it done. The Janesville Fire Department had an old ambulance that they had taken out of service. They had just planned to put it on state auction. And typically with those, you get maybe $1,000 when you sell those. So they were more than willing to gift that to the Leadership Development Academy group that was working on this project. And then that group raised funds to put a wrap around the ambulance and do a little bit of remodeling of the interior. So we've had that for 2 summers now, and we're learning, what parts of the city where there's good attendance coming to the bookmobile, what things we need to be at. So yeah, it's really become a nice extension of the library. We can get out into the community and go places where maybe it's a little bit harder for kids or family members to get to the library. So we're able to go out to them. And I love the fact that the lights and siren still work on it. So it's great to take that in the parade and really show that off. And the first parade we went in, you hear kids say, hey, look at the ambulance. And now it's like, hey, there's the bookmobile. So it's, people will definitely recognize it and enjoy seeing it out and about.
Yeah, that was a really creative idea and way to use resources.
Yes, it was. Yeah, and it didn't cost a lot of money, and it's a great way to kind of extend the life of some of these old municipal vehicles.
Does the library offer any volunteering opportunities? If so, what are some ways viewers at home can get involved?
I would say absolutely. We have volunteer activities. The Friends of the Library have a lot of, availability for people if they want to come in and maybe work a 2 or 3 hour shift at the coffee shop down here. That's a pretty easy thing to do. I mean, you're getting to interact with people and sell them coffee or a pop or something like that. So that's one way you can do it. The children's programs, when we have a number of those going, there's always an opportunity for someone to help out with those events. And we're always looking for people to shelf read or just go through the stacks and make sure everything's in place. And then through our Hedberg at Home program, for those that are elderly or maybe can't get to the library, we have volunteers that will pick up a number of books for you here at the library and come to your home and drop them off and chat with you a little bit too. So there's always that opportunity too to help people that can't get here, but we can still bring the resources to them.
You mentioned the Friends of the Library and their coffee shop. What else does that group do, and how can you become a friend?
Well, they're great for all the books that we have to pull from the collection. Obviously, you can't keep books forever. Some get outdated, or it's just we might buy 4 copies when an item or a book first comes out, and then after a year we only need a couple of them. So we remove those books from the collection, we give them to the friends, and then they will sell them at their book sale, and then they in turn return money to the library by supporting our programs and activities. There's that. They have the tulip sale every spring, so after the tulips have come up and shed their petals, they dig those up and sell those to the public. So that's a great thing. You see, so that's one way to see some of those tulips that might have been here at the library one time are now out in the community. So I know I have a lot of them at home. And then just generally, if there's events that come up or there's an opportunity to raise some funds, they do that. Just this past weekend, they had a Chipotle fundraiser where it's fairly easy. They just had it set up where on Sunday, if you went to Chipotle and got something to eat, 50% of their proceeds were returned to the library. So they do things like that throughout the year, and then then they're able to really help us with monetary gifts throughout the year. So it's a really good group. They're active. They're well run. It's really nice having that support.
Yeah, a lot of fun activities, it sounds like.
Oh yeah, it's
always busy.
We do a lot of things, and if you can make it fun, that just makes it all the better.
So if someone visits the library, do they have to get a library card? How can someone register for a library card?
So no, you don't have to have a library card to use the library. If you want to check something out, obviously you need a library card for that. That's fairly easy to do. If you're new to town and you don't have a permanent address yet, we'll set you up with a temporary card. You'll only be able to check out a couple items, but at least you can get started. And then when you do have a regular address, bring that in. We'll upgrade you to a regular account, and then you're able to check out any number of materials that you might want. And if you're visiting and want to use a computer, we can give you a temporary code to log on to use our computers. So you can do that as well. But if you're a resident, you have your library card, and you can just log right in to the computer and use that. So, and of course, if you want to come in and just pick something off the shelf and read it for a little while, feel free. You can do that. And yeah, you just need the library card when you want to check something out.
One of your services is your awesome website. I reference your website all the time for upcoming programs and events. Mm-hmm. What can website visitors find there?
Well, you can find all the information about the library, certainly hours that we're open, when we're closed. The events that we have upcoming, our library newsletter, there's a link to that, and you can pull that up and look at all the things going on. There's links to the databases that we subscribe to, as well as links to the databases that the state of Wisconsin provides through Badger Links. So you have access to a wide range of electronic resources through that. We have our local history database available through our website. There's suggestions on the children's webpage of obviously when our story hours are, but also maybe some things that they might want to check out and read to their kids. Information on our teen events that are going on and how to get involved. There's a lot on there, and we're looking to revamp that and make it even easier to access, but there's a lot of information there, and chances are you'll be able to find something to help you answer your questions.
One of the things you mentioned is the library catalog. Mm-hmm. Are there any upcoming changes with that?
Yeah, actually there's a big change coming. It'll be for the good of the community. So for about the last 10 years, we've been partnering with the other Rock County libraries in Arrowhead Library System, and we have a Rock Cat catalog. But that's been limited to just the libraries here in Rock County. And you can interloan items from other libraries. It's just an extra step you have to go through. But beginning in January, we're going to be merging with Lake Shore's library system, which is to the east of us. So that'll be Racine and Walworth counties, and then also Kenosha County is a member of this, and it's the SHARE consortium. So people will be able to access not just stuff in Rock County, but all those counties as well. So you're probably tripling the size of items that are available in that catalog. So that'll be good for people when they log on and you see an item and it'll pop up, maybe it's not here at Hedberg, but it's available in Kenosha. And you can just hit a button and place a hold on it and it'll come through courier delivery. But they'll have access to a lot more materials. And for us, it's great because it's a cost savings by adding all these other libraries, and we can provide better service at a lower cost for us too. So we're looking forward to it. And there's some really good technically proficient people over with the share system, so that'll be good too.
Well, we're just about out of time, but do you have any closing thoughts for our viewers at home?
You know, you have a great library here in Janesville. Hedberg Public Library is a leader in the state. Those that come here know that. It's just a wonderful library. So if you haven't had a chance to come in, just stop in someday and see what's here. And for those that do come here, you know, keep coming. So, yeah, it's a really great community resource, and myself and the staff are doing everything we can to provide, you know, first-rate service to everybody here. So, yeah, come on down and participate and be a part of the family.
And if our viewers have questions for you, how can they contact you?
I believe I have my contact information right on the website, so you can call me. I mean, my number's there. I believe my email is too, or simply, you know, just stop in administration. It's right behind the coffee shop, so come in, have a cup of coffee, and stop in and visit with me. So I know during the summer we get a lot of visitors, you know, grandpa and grandmas that are coming and visiting the grandkids, and they'll stop in my office and say what a great library we have here. So I always enjoy having those visits.
So nice. Thank you, Bryan, for your time today and letting our viewers learn a little more about the Hedberg Public Library. And thank you, viewers at home, for tuning in. Next month, we'll be talking to Mike Matthews, the operation manager of the Janesville Innovation Center, to learn about this facility that supports entrepreneurship and small business in Janesville. In addition to tuning into this program on a monthly basis, stay connected to the City of Janesville by following us on Facebook or Twitter. You can also sign up to receive emails with our press releases and other important information. And you can subscribe to get emergency alerts from Janesville Police Department on Nixle. For Park Place Views in the City of Janesville, I'm Jamie Balsiger. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next month.